All right. Well, why don't we dive into a question, which I think maybe both of which I had before on Instagram. A few of you sent me some questions on Instagram, and we'll sort of dip in and out of them. But the first one is what are the main tenses that every intermediate should master? This comes from Mohammed Tariq on Instagram, and he's at B1 right now. Do you have anything you could say from that, from your experience of learning from nothing here in France? What do you think are the tenses that you need most of all, that you should get most practice with? What do you use when you speak French most?
Present and passé composé.
Okay.
I just had a lesson with my professor reviewing imparfait, because describing something that is more like ritual or habitual is better described with imparfait. So I'm trying to practice that more, but I think, I use passé composé a lot to describe what I've been doing recently.
Yeah. Have you had any experience with so your passé composé is stronger than your imparfait?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's just practice, because I use it more often. I'm more comfortable with it. So I need to push myself to start to use what I'm learning in my lessons for imparfait in the real world conversations.
Yeah, true. And I think you and I both being here makes us more exposed to the language, and we can more often hear what is used more than something else. And I don't know about you, but you have just said it, passé composé is something you use more often, but because you maybe hear it more often.
Yeah, maybe.
You think that?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Because I heard some people say that they found the imparfait easier to understand and start using, which is very fascinating to me, because I always found passé composé way easier, because all you need to know is j'ai, tu as, on a, which you already know for present tense, and then just add one word for the past for every subject.
Yeah, and it's like the same for each one. So it's it makes it much easier. And for imparfait, you have to change what is your verb with nous, and then you add on the end, and that changes.
Yeah,
and it's it's complicated, but once you master that, then it feels like, okay, like I'm at that next level.
And I think that you, well, as I say, both of us, but particularly you, because you're here from when you basically knew no French. You're really able to, over time, see what people are saying, what people are not using, and you can know, okay, I don't need to use that. I don't need to learn that. It's a waste of my time. And because it is just such a mountain to climb to get all of that French grammar in your head, you need to take it bit by bit. And use it until you can move on to the next thing. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I agree. So I would say for the average intermediate learner, you should master, and I say that in quotes because mastery. What does that mean? Get it perfect every single time, or just feel comfortable? Let's say to feel comfortable in present. One of passé composé or imparfait, and then I would say the futur proche, which is the future tense where you use aller. So it's basically the equivalent of the English going to do something, and you replace do with any other verb. So going to swim, going to do shopping, going to run, going to eat, right? Je vais manger, je vais prendre le train, je vais faire les courses. That's far easier for me than learning the future simple, which is like the imparfait. You have all these new conjugations for every single thing. So, and it has the benefit of being used more often, I think. So present, I would say passé composé, my choice, but choose that or imparfait, because I know some of you find that easier. You weirdos. No, each to their own. And the future proche, I would say, and get really comfortable with using those, because then you can express present, past and future in 3 tenses. Get comfortable with those, and then when you're there, you're at a very capable level of expressing yourself in everyday conversations, and you can go and try and improve and learn the other tenses. That's how I would say if I was to do it again.
I would say Ashley in Switzerland has commented how much she prefers imparfait. over passé composé. So she's one of those weirdos, but that's really great for you. And I'm curious as to how you use that and why it's easier for you.
Where's that comment? Oh, the imparfait is 10 times easier. Yeah. Tell us, Ashley, why is that? Because I would have just thought having to memorize even more conjugations is just crazy difficult. And also Ashley, you're assuming Ashley's a girl. I mean, maybe Ashley's a girl. I don't know. I was at school with Ashley, with Anne Ashley, who spelt their name with a Y.
Excusez-moi, pardon.
I'm just bringing it up because I'm like, because Ashley seems quite active in the comments. So if we're gonna refer to him or her or to them,
and they know that barbers are open in Switzerland, so potentially.
C'est simple comme bonjour. Okay, wow. Okay, you're quite bold with that. Well, you stick with what you feel comfortable with, and you rock it, and then come back to passé composé. That's awesome. What else have we got?
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie. Yeah, what's Jamie? Such sexy francophiles. Oh, well, thank you very much. You're not so bad yourself. Hope you have a beer in your hand as well.
We have John from London. We didn't say hi to John.
So, sorry, John. Yes, boy from X-Town. John has been in Montpellier. He did live here for a while, back in London now. Regular commenter on my videos. I really do appreciate it. I see some of you regulars here. It's really nice to have you guys with me from basically the beginning when I was, when I was just shooting videos into the dark, and don't know how you guys found me, but I'm really grateful that you did. I saw a question from Oliver again, said what would be the best way as a beginner to learn, as I have a tutor weekly? What else can I do? Well, I think it's already great that you have a tutor. I'm assuming that they are guiding your learning right now. I would say follow their advice and make sure that you are getting enough speaking as you go, because a lot of the time we wait till we have a certain amount, but we don't define what that amount is to start opening our mouth and feeling uncomfortable. And the reason I say you should speak is because it's going to feel weird whenever you start, and you learn so much more about yourself and what barriers you're going to have to overcome, like social barriers, emotional barriers when you start speaking. So keep speaking and ask so many questions to your tutor till he or she is a bit sick of you, but and enjoy it. Just soak it all up at the beginning. It's great. What about you? What would you give to a beginner?
Yeah, I mean, practice. One reason that I have progressed, along with my lessons with my tutor, my professor, is the fact that I get to practice every day living in France. So if I did not have that, if I was still in the US, I would have to diligently seek out someone to practice what I'm studying in my lessons. That way it gets, ingrained in your brain. Otherwise, you've got so many things in your life going on that, for me, especially if I learn something and I don't use it, it's out. So that's my number one thing. Yeah, and I say that we often mistake learning for just the input part, but learning is the output as well. And so you're going to quickly have so much that you've tried to put in, and you're quickly on the back foot because you're trying to catch up and use it all. And so you do have to accept that's going to happen, and you've got to let stuff go and not get too annoyed by it. But the earlier you start using what you're putting in, even if you feel like you can't form full sentences, just do it, because A, you'll get used to the sounds coming out of your mouth. B, you'll get used to having to speak simply, and C, I don't know if there is a C. I'm just listing things here and hoping they come. And D, yeah, all of the above. Yeah. So yeah, keep it up, and don't worry if you get overwhelmed. Just keep enjoying it. Clairement, t'as raison pour Ashley.
Ashley, ouais, je suis mec. Cool, ça passe. All right, Ashley.
Salut, mec.
What is Andy saying now? Start with what you have. Doesn't matter if it's super basic. Yeah, Andy, you guys might have seen Andy on a video I did about a month ago. It was just before lockdown kicked in, because I was able to have him here with me on a video to get all his 4 key tips for becoming fluent in French. And because he's been here 12 years, and he spent a lot of time basically staying as far away from English as possible, and that has set him in such good stead. So if you want to listen to someone who is completely fluent, then yeah, I would listen to any advice Andy gives.
Check out that video. He's a master.
he is a master, and I can see him grinning and embarrassed right now at home with his cat. His cat's called Saucisse. That's quite cute, isn't it, guys? I know you won't mind me saying that.